Good day. We are a couple from Turkey and we are holding the results of our first program in this clinic. We are now waiting for our surrogate mother to give birth, and we will soon meet our second child. We want to share our experience with other couples, as I know many people are thinking and doubting where to go and which clinic to choose. Especially now with the war in Ukraine, many might be afraid to come here. The first time, we were generally satisfied with everything here. But when my wife and I thought about a second program, the war was already ongoing in Ukraine, and we were afraid to come here, so we started looking for a clinic in other countries. We found what initially seemed to be a good option, but the first meeting with the clinic representatives made me a bit uneasy. The manager spoke very sweetly, and it felt like they needed us as potential clients, almost begging us to sign the contract. I didn't like that very much, and I had my doubts. I recalled your clinic and regretted that there was a war here.
They offered us a surrogacy program with 3 attempts using donor eggs, and of course, they painted everything beautifully. We met with the manager in a cafe near the clinic. We signed the contract, but the contract was surprisingly short, which also puzzled me. We handed $11,000 in cash to the coordinator, who went to make the payment while we stayed to finish our coffee. By the way, we had to pay for our hotel stay, with the clinic covering only 1 day. No one met us at the airport, so we had to find our way to a foreign country. We weren't settled in, they just sent us the clinic's address, where we went on our own, and there we provided sperm and blood tests. Regarding the donor eggs, there was no opportunity to choose the donor or read information about her as there is in your clinic. They only had frozen donor cells. We wanted the donor to resemble us, and for that, they asked for an additional $8,000, without giving a 100% guarantee that the donor would indeed resemble us. They seemed to have a mix of cells, and it felt like they didn't even know what they had. We returned home not completely satisfied, with many questions left unanswered. But we thought that different clinics might have different practices, and we prayed for the best. After signing the contract and making the payment, there was almost no communication, and they often didn't answer our calls. We had no idea what was happening or whether they had created the embryos, if the surrogate mother was preparing for the transfer, or at what stage our program was. In short, we were left in the dark about things that genuinely concerned and interested us. Having had a good experience at your clinic, we assumed it would be the same elsewhere.
The whole story with the surrogate mother was a separate ordeal. We waited for 6 months without any news from the clinic, and then suddenly we got a message that our surrogate mother was not pregnant. We weren't even notified when the embryo transfer would take place. Whether there was a transfer or not, we never received any evidence, just the word of the coordinator. Honestly, I was at my wit's end. I was angry, so I decided not to leave it like that and went to the clinic unannounced to sort things out personally. And what do you think? In front of the clinic, I met 2 Turkish couples who had been clueless about what was happening for over a year and a half. No pregnancies, no evidence of transfers, not even basic cultivation protocols. They might exist, but they simply weren't shown to the patients. All the information was just words I couldn't trust anymore. When I arrived at the clinic, I wanted to terminate the contract and demand a refund, to which I was refused, citing a clause in the contract stating that after the first attempt, a refund was impossible due to the work already done by the center. Again, I received no confirmation that any work had been done. That's how we lost more than $25,000 in total, as we later calculated, including flights, hotels, and other expenses. I understand that we were simply deceived, our money was taken without doing anything, and we were duped. Now we are looking for a good lawyer in that country who might help us get back at least some of the money we gave them. Yes, we understand that this is a big business and big money, but playing on people's feelings is cruel.
Oh, we are very happy to be with you again. Even though there is a war in Ukraine right now, everything is going great. We contacted the manager and asked in detail about the actual situation in Kiev. And he assured us that everything is relatively normal here, and clients are coming to the clinic. We are not the only ones. So we decided to take the risk. Our manager, Andre, was in constant contact with us any time of day or night, especially when we were on the road. Upon arrival, we were met and taken to a clinic-paid hotel room, and we were happy. When we arrived at the clinic, we saw clients from China and Italy there that day. We had prepared the documents required to join the program in advance.
Honestly, I'm a pretty tough person. I think things over 100 times before making a decision, but in this situation, to be truthful, I was only worried about one thing. What if those Chinese and Italians join the program before us? Then we'll have to wait longer for a surrogate mother. Well, we got to know those Italians and exchanged phone numbers to support each other and stay in touch. Also, about the war in Ukraine, we saw horrible, nightmare footage on the news back home. But here we are in Kiev, and it's almost the same as it was during our stay here before the war. Except for the air raid alerts all over the city and the curfew, meaning you can't be outside after midnight. Otherwise, the city functions as before. I also want to say that the maids in the apartments where we live helped us install a special app on our phones that notifies us about the start and end of air raids. But you know, people here don't even pay much attention to it anymore. Today, before coming to the clinic, there was an alert, but they said it was just a MiG. We didn't understand what that meant, but everyone was relaxed, calm, and continued with what they were doing. I went out onto the balcony during the alert and saw that everyone was going about their business, some drinking coffee, some chatting with someone. What else can I say? We are glad we took the risk and came here. It's worth it.